Hey, welcome. I'm just doing a little chat GPT here, having a little fun, and we have a goal of talking about some of this chapter's goals or outcomes. And I would actually even kind of go as far as saying that this is the probably the more or the most important chapter, other than learning how to create databases, you know, and tables and stuff like that. But it's what you do with those tables and how they come together that makes it useful. The data is great, but it'll take it to the next level if you can get more data from than just one single table. You can get data from two tables that are related, and you can ask in such a way that, well, I mean, you using SQL, you can with whatever's available within that language and how it mechanically joins together based on your relationships. And so terms like one to many and many to many relationship is a one to one relationship between tables. Where I'm not going to get into that, but a one to many, I think that's actually a typo. A one to many relationship and a many to many relationship are the ones that we'll talk about here. And it's actually a fairly, it's not too difficult. It's the inner and outer joins. And actually, yeah, I kind of had an issue with one to many and many to many eventually, because I was still learning databases and how it kind of all went together, and programming at the same time, which was interesting. uh, yeah, let's get into that one to many and many to many examples, and we're gonna um, we're gonna talk about the one to many. And so let's consider that I have two tables. One table is a customer table, and this can be for a bank, something like that. And the other table is the account table. And let's suppose that I wanted them to relate, meaning that we need to have um, some kind of joiner for that, and that's the one to many. So we're going to get into that a little bit. One John, we got our customer ID John in one table, and pretend there's more data here about John, his address, whatever. It's a whole table. And then we have a whole nother table over here that is the account table and everything that an account needs to hold. And so we relate them. Let's say that we relate them, and the relationship that we're actually looking for is the one to many relationship. That means that I'm going to have a foreign key. And the foreign key, if I want to do this a one customer to many accounts, the foreign key needs to be inside of the account table, because it's the one that's representing many. Many, what does many mean? One to many accounts, one customer for every account. Okay, so that would be our foreign key. And let's take our example a little bit further. And let's say that I had a list of customers, my table, and let's say that I'm kind of looking at this list. I'm going down this list, and I want to know, well, how many accounts does this customer have? and I have an accounts list. So I find the first customer, and let's say I pick the first customer on the list in the table, and I say, well, how many accounts does he have? Well, then let's pretend that I have another list over here, and that is the accounts. And inside of every account, we have a customer ID that ties it to one customer. Many accounts, one customer, because that means that every account has the ability to have one customer. And then, of course, everything else. And how do we join those together? We simply will have an application or something. This, in fact, is your SQL server. And it'll go down the list of accounts. And let's say we wanted to know how many accounts John Doe had. And let's say that John Doe's account number is 2. So we've got all these accounts here. And John Doe, the foreign key, has 2 in it. Maybe he doesn't have that account. He's got other accounts. Then we would walk through each of these items and find the particular account ID, what account that was. It could be a checking account, it could be a savings account. You know, there's going to be other things about the account table, such as, you know, the data, what type of account it is, etc., interest, all kinds of different things, balance for sure. And so then I would be able to take that customer ID and it would be in multiple possible accounts, many. So that's your one-to-many relationship. That is with just just having that foreign key. That gives us the ability, the database, for you to be able to ask for the data using the SQL statement. And then what it does is it just goes down the list and it finds mechanically where the customer ID is equal to 2, and that's John Doe's accounts. And then we can show that data. And that works in reverse. Let's say that we didn't want to have a one customer table or one customer to many accounts. Let's say that I wanted one account to many customers. So then I would say, okay, customers now hold account ID, and I create a list, and let's say that I'm looking for account number 41. So the account table, we can just say, hey, I want to know the data for this account. And let's say that's this guy right here, number 41. And I ask for the data from the customer table that's going to have my list of customers. And I'm going to be able to look and just check every one and see, hey, is this with the foreign key of 41? Does this account ID value with my customer have the value 41? So then that customer belongs to that account. But we can have multiple customers with 41 in it. Multiple different customers with 41 in it as a foreign key. So that means that Jane Doe can have an account. Jane Doe, let's say that Jane Doe, has been given that account as well. It has, she's got 41 here for her, foreign key account ID. but there's some limitations here because in truth, when we think about bank accounts, multiple customers can have multiple accounts, and multiple accounts could have more than one customer. And so, yeah, what if we want to have multiple customers share multiple accounts? Well, we just don't restrain ourselves, because you notice that every time that I discussed a one account to many customers or a one customer to many accounts, I moved the foreign key. The foreign key is what allows the many. So then if I want a many to many relationship, I would just throw back in here, or what not I would, but what you do is you have a foreign key over here, customer ID. So you have two tables that share foreign keys. So we see here that we have customer ID as a foreign key. So that can be many. We can have many. And then over here, we have account ID as the foreign key. It's just an extension of what we just talked about. And yeah, I've been there where I'm trying to kind of process that in my mind, many accounts to many customers, and how would that be organized? Well, this is the way it's organized. And this is the way you can map it all out. And then you ask for the data in such a way where you can take advantage of these relationships. And all the SQL server is, the database server, is a program that goes through the list to find the data, to find what it is you're looking for. And then the only way that we can relate those tables together is with those foreign keys, so that we can have the one to many and the many to many relationships. This takes us into how do we ask for that data when we got the complications are pretty ridiculous. I mean, many to many, my brain is already hurting. And the way that we ask for that data that relates is through what we call joins, SQL joins. And basically we are telling the program SQL server what lists I am giving you. So from table A, from list A, from table B, I want the records where one value on table A matches a value on table B. So this is we're not going to talk about all these, but this is the most useful and the most simplistic of the joins, because it carries out the very reason why we want to join the tables in the first place, by giving us all shared accounts, where essentially we're saying select from A, select from B, all the data, but I only want, then that's what this, from all the data, I only want where a value in A matches with a value of B. And also think that maybe not, with a lot of the tables you're working with, there's always a match. Like, for instance, the table example that I'm giving you with customers and accounts. There's going to be some kind of relationship. There's going to be customers that have an account or whatever. But there may be, for some reason, a customer that doesn't have an account. And you want to store them in the customers table, but you don't want to give them an account. There's databases that are going to need that flexibility in whatever weird scenario, and not even weird scenario, actually just kind of a real life scenario and how complex it gets. So I have this example for you, and you know, I'm using a little ASCII art here, and kind of to give you the example of what this looks like, because you're going to be using wizards and so forth in Access to build these relationships and ask for the data using a graphical wizard. But we're going to talk about the actual what is actually being generated behind the scenes. That's really what's happening, and that is your SQL statement. Everything in your front end of that window working in Access, it all comes down to this statement, and working through those wizards to be able to do this, and making the join happen within the database. So what do we have? We have a customer table. Now the customer table has what we call the foreign key of account ID, and we have an account table, and it has an account ID. So this is right off the bat a one-to-many relationship. And what we're doing is we're sharing our foreign key from the customer table's account ID. That means then, from what we just talked about, the relationship is that this is going to be a relationship where multiple customers, many customers can have the same account. That one, you know, multiple accounts, well, whatever. I don't want to get into it. So what's the SQL statement look like? Well, we have, and let's not look at this results table. Let's put that away for now. We have the account table. And oh, I didn't know that was going to do that. Oh my goodness. What happens when I go over here? Oh my goodness. My whiteboard is messing up. How does this happen, Ralph? Oh my goodness. I just learned something new today. I can pan on the whiteboard. I did not know that. Oh my God. The things. Jeez. All right. I love it. Customer table, account table. Let's make this whiteboard even better. No, it's stuck. Account ID is the foreign key of customer table. Now, when we are doing a join, we're saying select from this table and this table, A and B, but I only want the data where A dot key is equal to B dot key. Actually, we can rename this where A dot account ID equals B dot account ID. So if you get confused whenever you're doing this, just simplify it with the mechanics. You know, it all stems from that SQL statement. So in this case, we're saying I want all the data where account ID matches from row to row. And that's the other implicit, where they match from row to row. So let's go back to this. What is our SQL statement? Our SQL statement is to select customer ID account number from the customer account. Okay. We're just saying, oh yeah, I want both. I want data from both accounts. And then you say, then the command is, I want you to do a join, an inner join. That means I want you to look and parse through both lists. And when you see from row to row, guys, that's the key, row to row, when you see both the account IDs match up, I want that row. I want it. Give it to me. And that's all it is. That's what a join is when, you know, it's parsing through each table and looking where the account ID of one row matches the account ID on the other row. So just break it down to those mechanics. And now I know, oh, it's going to give me a row of data that's going to be, it's going to be based on what I asked for. I asked for a customer account number. I asked for customer ID and the account number. Because that's just, when I say I want the row, that's this part of the statement. What rows or what columns do you want? This statement right here says, hey, what columns do you want? This statement says, hey, I want the rows where they match up. So I want the customer ID, I want the customer ID, I want the account number, and I want the rows where the account IDs match. All right, well, let's follow that logic. Let's go through each list, and we want the rows where each account number matches. Is that the one it is? Because now I'm even where account ID matches. Okay, matching an account ID. All right, we go over here to row 1, 101, 101. Boom. That one matches. So what do I want? I want that row, but what do I want from that row? I just want the customer ID and the bank account. So my first result will be, will be the customer ID and the account number, because account ID matches here, account ID matches here. I want that row, but of that row, I only want customer ID and account number. So I'll get the 1 and the account number, which is 123 456. And then I'm going to go back through each row and match the rows. Oh, okay, I got a 102 here. Is this a 102? Yeah, they're on the same row. They match. Boom, I want that row. What do I want from that row? I want customer ID and account number. Okay, customer ID 1. Account number. What is account number for this row? Do we want this row? Yes, we do. We want this row. So it's going to be that. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whatever. Then we've done 2 rows now. Let's go look at the third row of both tables and see if the account ID matches. 102, 102. Yep, the account ID matches. So customer 2, see, I want that row, but the customer ID, what do I want from that row? I want the customer ID and account number. But you see here, the customer ID is different for the same account, evidently. So I get 2, and we see here 6, 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1 is the account number of that row. So there's kind of a lot going on, and when in doubt, just follow through this kind of logic that I gave to you and how it works, because the thing that nobody really kind of explains and tells you is that the actions are being carried out row to row to row to row to row. And if you're doing an inner join, you're saying go through both tables, row to row to row to row, and give me this data where something matches in those tables. Very powerful. Once getting into that, the data science of it it's just phenomenally awesome. And so now we have a query for giving us all customers and their account numbers, so that we could also spot customers that share an account. And in this case,